Good morning, evening, or night. Wherever you are, welcome to WHAM today. Take a deep breath, clear your mind, and let's drift through the whispers of today's world, one quiet thought at a time. As we wrap up Monday, 21st July 2025, let's see what stories are unfolding around us. Japan's Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba, despite facing calls for his resignation after a defeat in upper house elections, intends to stay in office to tackle high inflation and U.S. tariffs. The election highlighted the rise of right-wing populist parties appealing to working-age voters with messages about wages, immigration, and unresponsive political elites. Business leaders are emphasizing the need for political stability to maintain economic growth after the ruling coalition's electoral setback. A record 42 women secured seats in the House of Councillors election. Former Prime Minister Yoshihide Suga is planning a trip to South Korea at the end of July, seeking a meeting with President Lee Jae-myung. Ryosei Kazawa, Japan's chief tariff negotiator, aims to finalize a trade agreement with the United States by August 1. A recent survey shows that leisure is now valued more than work among the Japanese population, reaching the highest level since 2009. Ongoing efforts to improve English proficiency among Japanese students continue, yet further progress is required. To meet government goals, regulatory penalties are impacting the Japanese financial sector, following the conviction of former SMBC Nikko managers for market manipulation. Exchange programs between Japan and Russia have been halted, preventing former Japanese residents from visiting their hometowns on Russian-held islands. India's parliament convened amid palpable tension to reduce its reliance on Russia and the US for defense resources. India is pursuing collaborative ventures with Western European allies to jointly develop advanced fighter jet engines. After almost 2 decades of imprisonment, an Indian High Court exonerated 12 defendants in the 2006 Mumbai train explosions. A recent accident, where a speeding vehicle caused the death of a 114-year-old man, has once again drawn attention to road safety issues in India, where accidents claim over 100,000 lives each year. The Karnataka state government has launched a special investigation into claims of a mass burial at Dharmasthala, a significant pilgrimage site, triggered by a confession from a former sanitation employee following an assault on an Indian citizen in Ireland. Amid rising reports of violence against Indians and people of color from Asian and African nations, the Indian embassy is liaising with Irish officials. India has become Malaysia's top importer of germinating oil palm seeds, acquiring 3.03 million tons of palm oil from Malaysia in 2024. Making up 17.9% of Malaysia's total palm oil exports. Tragically, in Bangladesh, an Air Force aircraft crashed in Dhaka, leading to multiple fatalities, including children. Kerala is observing a period of mourning after the death of prominent leader V.S. Achuthanandan. Philippines President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. will meet with U.S. President Donald Trump to negotiate a trade agreement before U.S. tariffs are imposed on Philippine goods. Marcos Jr. is considering offering military access and mineral rights in return for reduced tariffs on Philippine exports during the meeting. The talks also aim to strengthen Manila's security partnership with Washington, especially regarding relations with Beijing. Elsewhere, search teams are scouring Tal Lake for hidden information, prompted by a whistleblower's claims and rumors surrounding the volcanic lake. The Philippines is also grappling with fatalities caused by recent storms. Moving eastward, Vietnam is bracing for Typhoon Wipha, which forecasters predict will strike between Haiphong and Than Hoa. Canada is seeing increasing opposition from Indigenous groups. They are protesting the fast-tracked approval of mining and energy projects. These groups demand proper consultation and voice worries about environmental impacts. Globally, severe fire weather conditions are becoming more frequent. This is leading to a surge in forest fires across multiple regions. The widespread rejection of Donald Trump's universal tariffs is also noteworthy. This disapproval has brought attention to existing internal trade barriers within different countries and trading blocs. These barriers are considered harmful to their own economies. They could result in earnings, losses, matching, or exceeding the impact of the tariffs themselves. England and Wales are grappling with significant shortcomings in their water infrastructure. A recent report exposed a systemic failure of water companies. These failures include a lack of investment in new infrastructure. Insufficient attention to leak repairs was also noted. Environmental protection measures were also deemed inadequate. Experts stress that tangible improvements hinge on water companies prioritizing infrastructure development. Turning to Iran, a new round of nuclear talks is scheduled. These talks will occur in Turkey. The Iranian delegation will meet with representatives from the E3 nations. The E3 nations include Britain, France, and Germany. This meeting signifies a resumption of diplomatic efforts. These efforts are aimed at addressing Iran's nuclear program after a ceasefire with Israel. Syria is grappling with escalating internal conflicts as the government evacuates Bedouin families from Swaida province. This action follows deadly clashes between Druze militias and Bedouin fighters, resulting in hundreds of casualties. These conflicts, a clash between the Druze religious minority and Sunni Muslim clans, threaten to destabilize Syria's fragile post-war transition. Simultaneously, a notable shift sees many Syrian exiles contemplating a return home after more than a decade, a decision that reflects on the evolving conditions within the nation. South Korea is grappling with the aftermath of severe landslides and floods that have tragically claimed 18 lives. Adding to the unease, a hyper-realistic AI-generated video showing Seoul's Jangbogum Palace underwater has sparked worries about AI's potential misuse in spreading misinformation. Separately, an investigation revealed that a Jeju air flight made a crash landing operating with only one functional, albeit heavily damaged, engine. Authorities have warned against jumping to conclusions about the incident's cause. Diplomatic circles are buzzing with anticipation as a meeting between Donald Trump and Xi Jinping is expected to take place either before or during the upcoming APEC summit held in South Korea. Italy has recently cancelled a concert of conductor Valery Gergiev due to his ties with Putin. This move has been welcomed by critics, but denounced by Russia's ambassador. Meanwhile, a cave explorer is trapped in Piedmont, prompting a rescue mission. Tax authorities in Italy are also challenging the free registration model of social media platforms. X, LinkedIn, and Meta are contesting this tax assessment. Reports initially indicated that U.S. actor Malcolm Jamal Warner, known for his role as Theo Huxtable on The Cosby Show, drowned in Costa Rica. However, this information is false. The reports are a hoax. Warner is alive and well. Bill Cosby did not share memories of Warner. Malaysia is currently investigating claims that fugitive Joe Low, wanted in connection with the UNMB collapse, is residing in China. In legal matters, Malaysia's top court is slated to consider Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim's application for legal immunity from a civil sexual harassment suit. Separately, Malaysian police are actively pursuing an armed robbery suspect amidst a concerning increase in gun violence, which has heightened public safety concern. Argentina has relaxed visa rules for Chinese citizens with U.S. or EU visas, driven by President Javier Milei's goal to reinforce U.S. relations through trade. Meanwhile, World Rugby has confirmed that English players were subjected to racist abuse by Argentine fans during a recent tour match. Turning to Canada, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is facing increasing pressure to address housing affordability. The government is considering new measures to cool the market, including potential restrictions on foreign ownership and increased investment in affordable housing projects, as the national average home price continues to climb. In the United States, the Federal Reserve is closely monitoring inflation data as it considers future interest rate adjustments. Recent economic reports suggest a mixed outlook, with some sectors showing signs of slowing while others remain robust, leading to uncertainty about the pace of future rate hikes. The Biden administration is also grappling with ongoing debates in Congress over the debt ceiling. In the United Kingdom, Prime Minister Rishi Sunak's government is facing scrutiny over its handling of rising inflation. Ongoing strikes by nurses and other public sector workers continue to disrupt services as unions demand higher wages to offset the increasing cost of living. Transitioning to France, President Emmanuel Macron is pushing forward with controversial pension reforms, despite widespread protests and strikes. The reforms, which raise the retirement age, have triggered significant social unrest and pose a major challenge to Macron's leadership. Moving to Germany, Chancellor Olaf Scholz is navigating a complex energy crisis following disruptions to Russian gas supply. The government is implementing measures to diversify energy sources and reduce reliance on fossil fuels, while also grappling with the economic impact of high energy prices. Lastly, Russia is facing increased international condemnation following accusations of war crimes in Ukraine. The International Criminal Court has issued arrest warrants for President Vladimir Putin, and the conflict continues to strain relations between Russia and Western nations. Fiji is grappling with a public health crisis as law enforcement's approach to drug control is allegedly hindering HIV prevention efforts. Shifting focus to regional cooperation, Pacific security and health leaders have committed to collaborative strategies to tackle shared health and security issues. Brazil is currently navigating a period of heightened political tensions alongside significant economic shifts. Eduardo Bolsonaro, son of former President Jair Bolsonaro, recently criticized a Supreme Court justice for actions he deemed dictatorial, specifically referencing the freezing of assets. Concurrently, Brazil's automotive industry is witnessing a major transformation with increased investment from Chinese electric vehicle manufacturers like Great Wall Motor and BYD, who are setting up local factories. These companies plan to introduce more affordable EVs and hybrid models, a move that contrasts sharply with the departure of established Western brands such as Ford and Mercedes-Benz, potentially reshaping the nation's transportation sector. Stellantis, the multinational automotive manufacturer, encompassing brands like Jeep, Peugeot, and Fiat, faced a significant financial setback, reporting losses exceeding €2 billion in the first half of the year. In response to looming tariff impositions, Stellantis implemented a temporary production halt lasting several weeks during April, affecting its manufacturing operations in both Mexico and Canada. The company has signaled a potential need to raise vehicle prices to offset the growing financial pressures. Iran is on the brink of renewed negotiations as its representatives prepare to meet with British, French, and German negotiators this Friday. This crucial meeting follows closely on the heels of threats from the European trio to reimpose economic sanctions on Iran, adding significant pressure to the discussion. Shifting gears to the world of sports, Tadej Pogačar has declared his unwavering resolve to challenge Jonas Vingegaard head-on. Pogačar aims to seize his fourth Tour de France title in what promises to be an electrifying competition. Afghanistan. The United Nations mission in Afghanistan is troubled by the Taliban's recent arrests of women and girls accused of violating dress code regulations. Albania. In Albania, the corruption trial of former Prime Minister Salih Berisha has formally begun in a domestic court. Bangladesh. Following a tragic incident, search and rescue teams have been working at the site of a plane crash near Dhaka. China. Seeking to diversify its resources, China is set to receive iron ore shipments from both Guinea and Algeria. This is made possible by newly completed railway lines and port facilities, lessening its dependence on Australia and Brazil. Adding to international tensions, Singapore has accused the cyber threat group UNC3000, 1886, allegedly connected to China, of targeting its critical infrastructure since 2021, a claim that Beijing firmly refutes. Colombia. In northeastern Colombia, rebels employed a drone to launch an attack on a military patrol, resulting in the deaths of 3 soldiers and injuries to 8 others. Guatemala. The Guatemalan government has refuted claims that a Chilean man holding a U.S. green card was deported to Guatemala by U.S. authorities. Guinea. As part of China's strategy to diversify iron ore sources, Guinea is preparing to ship iron ore to China, facilitated by newly constructed railway lines and ports. Indonesia. A major rescue operation in Indonesia saved 575 people from a burning ferry, but tragically 3 lives were lost and 2 individuals remain missing. Kenya. Kenyan activist Boniface Mwangi faces charges of unlawful possession of ammunition, allegedly tied to his involvement in protests against the current government. Samoa. As Samoa prepares for upcoming elections, political parties are making campaign promises that include free healthcare, direct cash payments to families, job creation initiatives, and significant infrastructure investments. Singapore. Singapore has identified a cyber threat group known as UNC3886, allegedly linked to China as the perpetrator of attacks on its critical infrastructure since 2021, an allegation that China denies. Tonga Civil Aviation has taken action by suspending the maintenance certificate of Lulutai Airlines, leading to flight cancellations that have disrupted travel plans for many. United Arab Emirates. The United Arab Emirates, which agreed in 2021 to temporarily house several thousand Afghans evacuated from Kabul, has since returned some of those evacuees to Afghanistan. United Kingdom. Facing mounting criticism, the United Kingdom has committed to having sewage pollution by 2030, addressing public concerns over sewage discharges by UK water companies. And that's a wrap for today's news, because even headlines need a nap. Stay curious, stay kind, and let the noise fade as you find your quiet. Take care, stay awesome, and I'll see you next time on WHAM Today.